Well, what's good, guys? This is Vahography. I'm Vahagan, your rock and roll photographer. Today in this short little video, we are going to do some video with flagship Nikon cameras. On the right, my right, we have the Nikon Z9, the current modern day top of the line flagship. Records amazing video features. On the left, we have a flagship from a different era. Not too long ago, actually, we have the Nikon D5 DSLR. Yes, this camera does do video. A little more on this just in a bit, but the D5, again, not too long ago, 2016 camera. The Z9, you know, the current flagship. We're going to both record video side by side today with these cameras using respected 105mm lenses. I wanted the side-by-side video side-by-side at the same time with the same exact focal length. On the Z9, we have the 105 MC, which is a 105mm macro lens, but you can also record talking head video with this lens, no problem. You can actually shoot portraits with this lens. The F mount, we're gonna have the 105 1.4. Now, since the MC is a 2.8 lens, we're gonna also record the 1.4 105 with the D5 at 2.8, so it's an equal comparison. I'm gonna set the exact same settings on the cameras. The D5, some of you guys might not know this, but it does record 4K video. However, shooting crop, it doesn't use the whole sensor when doing 4K. If you want to use the whole FX on the D5 when shooting video, you're going to have to shoot it at 1080. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to shoot both cameras 1080. We're going to shoot both cameras 60 frames per second, 1080, side by side. A little bit more on video back in this time period. You know, Nikon, I always harp on this, Nikon was not that serious in video when it comes to DSLRs back in these times. I always got on their case about that. Canon was well on their way. This was around the 1DX Mark II era, you know, so they had a great camera out that actually autofocused with their dual pixel system. And just Nikon was behind in that video game. They really didn't think much about video back in the day. I actually, you know, was having a discussion with one of the Nikon guys at a convention. You know, he was like looking at me funny, saying like, "Why are you asking me questions about video? We're a stills company. Yeah, it does video, but you want to use this camera for video." He was absolutely correct in his statement, saying that you would use the D5 for stills. This is a stills camera. Nobody in their right mind would buy a D5 for video, right? Unless you're doing manual focus stuff, which the video quality is quite good for what it is. You'd buy this camera. It's a great camera for your still photography. A fast camera. It's the top of the line flagship from 2016, 2017. And you know, you guys know that the D6 launched in 2020. I'm just curious, you know, on Vahography, we do these things, you know, it's quirky little experiments just to see if you're curious to see how the video looks on a D5 compared to the top of the line mirrorless. I mean, obviously, I can already predict that the D5 is going to struggle when it comes to autofocus. We're going to set it on face detect auto. It does have face detect autofocus, so we're gonna set it to detect my face. I don't know how well it's gonna do with this 105E lens, but hey, we're gonna do it. We're gonna try it. And you know, you would buy mirrorless because of the video features. Mirrorless cameras are just so much better when it comes to autofocus in video, with, you know, their focus points and their amazing video. You know, Nikon has corrected the video portion on their cameras as of late, so there's no issues with the current mirrorless Z9, Z8, ZFs when it comes to video autofocus and tracking. They've corrected all that finally. If you're curious to see what's going on here, we're gonna do it. I'm gonna do this experiment for you guys using the same focal length lenses. Again, not the same lenses, but these are both amazing lenses. So let's see how well these two cameras perform. Let's see how well the D5 stacks up when doing side-by-side video. And again, I know the D5, you would not buy this for video, but just in case, for those of you that are curious about video, I also want you guys to pay attention to the quality coming out of this camera. 1080, 60 frames per second, both using 105 lenses. Let's see how well these two perform side by side. Shall we get started? Let's go. Rock and roll. All right. Okay. Hopefully the D5 is focusing on me. I have it on face detection. As you can see, side by side recording, same exact settings. Now, like I said, this first clip, I wanted to set both cameras on auto white balance. I have both cameras on NL, neutral picture profile. They're both recording, like I said, identical settings. ISO is 500. We have it recording at 1080, 60 frames per second, 1/125th of a second. Shutter speed on both cameras. Like I said, let's see how this thing goes. I'm worried that the D5 is struggling with autofocus, but let's see how things go. Both cameras recording full frame, 1080, 60 frames per second, ISO 500, both on AFF, and you know, we got both auto focus settings identical. Let's see what happens. It's tracking. Hopefully it's tracking correctly. Now I want to make a few adjustments. I want to go ahead and adjust the white balance to an identical Kelvin temperature. This light I have set at 5600 daylight temperature on the left of me. So I'm going to put the white balance on K5600 on both cameras right now. Okay, here we go. Both cameras set on identical white balance, 5600 Kelvin. This is what it is, guys. Both lenses set at 2.8. Remember, we got the 105 is a 1.4 lens. To make this comparison fair, to make it a fair fight, I had to set both at 2.8 because the MC is a 2.8 lens. Yeah. Let's move around a little bit. I know that this is where the DSLR is going to struggle probably with focus. And they're both set to track. It makes for a really good talking head camera setup. You know, if you're manning the D5 and you're pulling focus, there's nothing wrong with this clip at all. This is so usable for, even in 2024, this is usable. Talking head interviews like this, not a problem at all. So yeah, let's get a little closer. Now let's back up a little bit. Let's back up further. There's a light behind me, so let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and do this. Now for fun, I just want to see the difference when I set the D5 and that lens to 1.4. Let's see the background blur difference and how much of an advantage you can have. A 1.4 lens versus a 2.8 lens. Let me set that D5 to 1.4 real quick. All right, 1.4 on the 105 1.4E lens on the Nikon D5. Look at how much more background blur you get with the 1.4 lens. Look at that compression. What do you guys think? Like I said, I don't have a monitor. I don't see what's going on here. There is no flippy screen magic with any of these cameras. But that's 1.4 on the D5. But yeah, that's a difference between background blur, shooting it at 1.4 versus 2.8. So we got a little extra bonus in this video. What's the difference between 1.4 versus 2.8? The difference between mirrorless and DSLR when it comes to Nikon video, and the difference between, I guess, the 105 MC and the 105 1.4E with native cameras, native mount cameras. Like I said, guys, hopefully the focus is working on the D5. I know the Z9 is doing an excellent job. Watch the Z9 have struggle right now. That'll be funny, guys. No, I don't think so. You can pretty much set the Z9 to eye tracking, face tracking, and forget it, you know. It can do the job. I'm pretty confident that the Z9 can do that job. Let's see what that D5 is probably struggling right now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Nikon ZF. For only $1999.95, you can own this camera with this lens today. And today only, guys. NikonUSA.com. Call 1-800-NIKON-ROCKS and you can own the Nikon Z5 for an amazing deal. $1,995. Saturday only. Saturday. This is Cal Worthington Ford. Remember those commercials? Yeah. Anyway, this is probably a disaster what's going on with the D5, but when I'm doing this, but anyway, we'll see what happens. Well, there you have it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. One thing I want to add here before we wrap it up, is it a good thing that Nikon was behind the ball during this time periods with DSLR when it comes to video? Think about this. If they had their game on in DSLR video, do you think currently they would actually purchase Red? Although they were making amazing Z9s and Z8s, do you think them lacking video in DSLR had anything to do with them being so aggressive today? I don't think we'd have Nikon buying Red if they kind of competed with video and DSLR. That pushed them to new heights today in 2024. As a Nikon shooter, why wouldn't you be? Why wouldn't you be excited for Nikon purchasing Red? You have to give a round of applause to Canon. You know, Canon, I think at them, you know, being in the forefront of cinema video and video in general, even videographers that do weddings, I see them using these Canon cameras. You know, they had the dual pixel system. They had DSLR video that actually worked. There's nothing wrong with actually shooting DSLR still. I had a guy just totally get on my case and kind of make fun of me because I was still shooting DSLR in 2024. I was like, yeah, keep laughing, buddy. But you know what? My clients are not laughing. They're actually loving what I do. So I don't care what people say. I don't care what my photography buddies say. All I care is what my clients think. And I love using these DSLRs still, you know. Again, and I'm not against mirrorless. I love mirrorless too. So the technology advances on a mirrorless camera, obviously far superior than what the DSLR can offer. But the DSLR still has many benefits, which I talked about in other videos. You know, reliability, build quality, the look that these sensors have that hardly can be duplicated with the mirrorless. Even the lenses bring more character to the image. You know, you got character with these f-mount older lenses. This lens right here is not that old. It's one of my top 105 1.4 highly regarded lens. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. This is Vahography. I'm Vahagan, your rock and roll photographer. Like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you on the next video. Rock and roll.